Welcome back. In the upcoming videos, we will put into action what we've learned in theory about APIs. As a start, we're going to use a somewhat simplistic currency exchange rates API. Our first job is to check its official documentation. Here it is, exchangeratesAPI.io. This API provides a number of different datasets to explore, but let's start with the first one. The documentation states that when visiting this URL, the API will respond with the latest exchange rates as published by the European Central Bank. Let's try it in the browser. Indeed, there is info that looks like exchange rates, and it is presented in the familiar JSON format. Alright, I suggest we proceed to code this in Python. Let's first create a variable base URL to store the address of the API endpoint. Okay, now we have to find a way to make a GET request to this URL. Fortunately, this can be easily achieved with the requests library. After importing the package, we have access to its GET method. This method submits a GET request to the indicated URL and returns the response from the server. To use it, we write requests.get, and in the brackets, we place the base URL variable. Since we need the response to this request for future processing, we will store it in a variable. That's it. We've made a GET request. Just this one line. Of course, we are yet to deal with the server response, so let's investigate it a bit. The requests package provides a couple of very useful attributes for this purpose. For example, we can check if the request went through without problems with the OK attribute. Or we can access the status code directly. As you probably remember, status 200 means everything's in order. What about the data contained in the response? After all, that's what we're here for. The body of the response can be obtained by writing .text, which returns it as a regular string. Alternatively, we can employ .content, which returns it in bytes format. As we've mentioned a couple of times already, this data is in JSON format, which consists of dictionaries and lists. It would be extremely useful if instead of a string, we can represent it with the native Python objects. In this respect, the requests library excels once again. It provides us the JSON method, which converts a JSON formatted response to a Python object. To do that, simply write response.json. Let's confirm the transformation with the type function. Yes, it is indeed converted to a Python dictionary. Alright, at this point, we can start analyzing the response. The data is now clearly visible, and I'd even call it prettier than before. Despite that, we can still improve the readability a bit more. For this purpose, we will use the inbuilt Python JSON package. As the name suggests, it provides methods for JSON manipulation. Two of the main ones are loads and dumps. Loads converts a string to a Python object, whereas dumps converts the Python object back to a string. In doing so, however, we have some options to make it a good-looking string. For example, we can set an indentation for nested elements and choose the amount of white space with the indent parameter. Let's try out with an indentation of 4 and see the result. In order to manifest it, though, we need to print the string. Now that is far better, won't you agree? Good. We can finally take a look and inspect the contents of this JSON. It contains 3 keys, as confirmed by the keys method: rates, base, and date. Date is self-explanatory. Base defines the currency against which other currencies are quoted, which for this API is the euro. Finally, the third key, rates, contains another dictionary with currencies and the values of their respective exchange rates. Okay? So far, we have managed to connect to the API, extract the response data, and understand its contents. There is still a lot more functionality left to explore for this API, and in the next video, we will deal with sending parameters to filter the response. Thanks for watching.